Hello friends. See this video, the purpose of this video is to explain the impact of GST on properties. See, GST is getting implemented from 1st of July 2017, and there is this apprehension, there is this concern among the buyers that post GST, whether the prices of properties will increase or they will come down. Whether the prices of properties, the prices of realty will fall, or the prices of properties will increase. So the purpose of this video is to explain the impact of GST on property prices. See, in order to see the difference post GST and pre GST, we have to compare the two situations. What is presently happening, and what will actually happen under the GST regime once GST is implemented. Once GST is implemented, there are two situations. One situation is that the builder can give the whole activity of construction to a contractor. He can get it done through a contractor, or he can get the activity done himself. So when he gets the construction activity done through a contractor, there are two stages of value additions. One stage is that the contractor will add his own profit, and then the builder will add his profit margin. That is the second stage of value addition. So the property will pass through in two stages. The second scenario can be that the builder himself can do the construction activity without getting it uh, contracted, without giving it to any contractor, without getting it subcontracted. Okay? Let us see the first situation where the builder gets it constructed through a contractor. Now, what will happen in post GST? Let us assume the whole cost of construction is 100 before all taxes. See, the three major elements of any construction activity are: one is land, the other is goods, and the third is labor. These are the three major components. So our assumption is land component is, let us say, 25, goods component is 50, and the labor component is 25. All these three put together comes to 100. Now the contractor adds his profit element. We are just supposing, let's say his profit element is only 5%. We can think of any scenario. It can be 50% profit or 100% profit, like that. Let's say his profit element is only 5%. And what happens after that is that the contractor has to add the GST. Now, when the activity of construction is given to a contractor, the GST rate specified is 18%. So on these components, goods, labor, and the profit element, the GST rate of 18% is added, and that comes to 18.90, and the gross sale price becomes 118.90, including land cost. But now, when it comes to the payment by the builder to the contractor, what the builder can do is the builder can pay 118.90 minus the land cost. The point is, should the builder pay this much money? No. The builder will ask from the contractor the benefit of input tax credit available by him or available to him in the process of construction on various inputs consumed in that construction. So let us go into the input tax calculation of these elements, the three elements that we assumed above. Land, since there is no GST, so there is no question of input tax credit. And now when it comes to goods, see, the thumb rule is that 50% of the goods is in the form of cement and the other 50% of the goods is in the form of steel. For the purpose of convenience, the assumption is this. So the thumb rule is also, for the purpose of calculation, the thumb rule is also, out of the total goods consumed, 50% is towards cement consumption and 50% is towards steel consumption. Now, under the present GST regime, the one that is going to unfold, cement falls under the 28% category, 28% GST category, and steel falls under the 18% GST category. So GST on cement comes to 7 and GST on steel comes to 18 on the basis of goods as 50. So 50% of this and on that 28% and 50% of this on that 18% comes to 4.50. Now the one component that is left out is the labor. On the labor component, the GST rate specifies 28%. This is not specifically provided anywhere for the construction activity. This is a residual rate because it is not defined anywhere. So to my mind, this 28% GST on labor component is very high. So the real estate industry should must take up with the government and request to reconsider this rate of 28%. To my mind, this rate should fall under the 18% category to be reasonable. So the total input tax credit comes to 7 plus 4.5 plus 7. This comes to 18.50. This benefit of input tax credit must be passed on by the contractor to the builder. So on the total price of 118.90, when we reduce the input tax credit, the billing price comes to 100.40. So what the builder has to do is, builder should pay to the contractor 100.40 minus the cost of the land. That is the payment that the contractor will get from the builder. Now let us come to the second stage of value addition. Now the builder will add his own profit. So he can add any percentage of profit. Let us assume that the builder is adding only 5% of his profit. So 100 will get, we are adding 5% to 100.40. So this is the profit. Now the builder will also has to charge GST from the buyers, from the consumers. Now when the builder adds GST, it is not 18%, it is 12%. Now 12% GST is on 100.40 and plus profit. So this comes to 12.65. Now the total cost comes to 118.07. Now the point here is, should the consumer pay to the builder this price? No. The point is, the consumer should ask for the benefit of input tax credit that is available with the builder. Now the input tax credit which is available to the builder, which has been added to the bill of the builder, which is coming from the contractor, is 18.50. But the builder cannot pass on this 100% because the GST on his bill is 12.65. So input tax credit only to the tune of 12.65 can be passed on by the builder to the consumer. So the input tax credit, when it is minus, when it's deducted from the total bill, so 118.07, when it is deducted by 12.65 as a component of input tax credit, the final pricing that comes to a buyer, to the ultimate consumer, is 100.42. So this is one case. That is a case when the construction activity is done by the contractor, when the builder gives it to the contractor and then he adds his value addition. We'll see the further impact in the second video.